Hello everybody, and welcome to Let's Play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. My name is JB Lewis, and if you're new to the channel, welcome! I'm really glad you're here. One of my favorite genres of video games is the adventure game. As a child of the 90s, I grew up on adventure games like Myst and its sequels, and was eventually introduced to older classics like Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, and more recently, things like The Stanley Parable and Gone Home. But one game that was really captivating to me in the past decade or so was this game, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. It has the puzzles and the mechanics of an adventure game, but it has the storytelling of something like a visual novel game. And that combination was something that I found really captivating when my friend Rockgeneru, or Rockdet on YouTube, Let's Played the original game back in, I want to say, 2011 or so. Since then, I looked into the first three games and have always wanted to do a Let's Play on this channel, but for a long time they were only available on the Nintendo Game Boy Advance, the DS, and then the 3DS, and I don't really have any capture cards or equipment to record on those, at least not without a lower quality Let's Play. But more recently, this high-definition trilogy collection was released on Steam, so I thought, what better way to play the game than this, and to do a Let's Play of it. To be fair, I don't really know a whole lot about the entire series of Ace Attorney. I'm sure there will be some fans of it in the comments who will fill in some of the blanks. I've only seen the first three games, so this will not be a fully first-time playthrough. But I do know that there are three games in the mainline series that follow it. There are also two spin-off series, Ace Attorney Investigations, and the more recent Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, as well as the Professor Layton crossover that Capcom did a few years ago. But this Let's Play is going to focus on the first three games, which are in this collection. I'm going to go ahead and click on the New Game option here. And you can see the three games that are represented here. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, the original. Ace Attorney Justice for All. And Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. All of these games were originally released on the Game Boy Advance in the early 2000s. And they were eventually ported to the Nintendo DS, where they saw more of an audience, especially here in the West. So what I'm going to be doing for this Let's Play is I'm going to be walking through each game on its own. So it's going to have its own playlist, but in addition to that, each game is broken up into chapters, or cases. And they each exist kind of as their own story, even though there is an overarching narrative that threads all of the games, and each game specifically. So I'm going to be approaching this from the perspective of each game. I will be numbering each part by case, but I'll be putting them all in a playlist for each game, just to keep things nice and organized. So for this first game, we're going to be starting Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney right now, and going through the first case, known as Episode 1, The First Turnabout. Just as a quick content warning, there is some violence in this game, being a game about crime. I do try to keep the channel relatively family-friendly, but just know that there will be some violence, nothing terribly graphic or major, and some language. But if that's okay with you, let's go ahead and get started.
Damn it! Why me? I can't get caught. Not like this. I've got to find someone to pin this on. Someone like him. I'll make it look like he did it.
August 3rd, 9:47 a.m., District Courts, Defendant Lobby Number 2. Boy, am I nervous. Right! Oh, hiya, Chief. Whew, I'm glad I made it on time. Well, I have to say, Phoenix, I'm impressed. Not everyone takes on a murder trial right off the bat like this. It says a lot about you, and your client as well. Thanks. Actually, it's because I owe him a favor. A favor? You mean you knew the defendant before this case? Yes. Actually, I kind of owe my current job to him. He's one of the reasons I became an attorney. Well, that's news to me. I want to help him out any way I can. I just really want to help him. I owe him that much.
It's over! My life, everything, it's all over!
Is that your client screaming over there? Yeah, it's him.
Death! Despair! Oh! I'm gonna do it! I'm gonna die!
It sounds like he wants to die. Yeah.
Nick!
Hey there, Larry.
Dude, I'm so guilty! Tell him I'm guilty! Give me the death sentence! I ain't afraid to die!
What? What's wrong, Larry?
Oh, it's all over. I'm finished! Finished! I can't live in a world without her. I can't! Who took her away from me, Nick? Who did this? Aw, Nick, you gotta tell me! Who took my baby away?
A person responsible for your girlfriend's death? The newspapers say it was you. My name is Phoenix Wright. Here's the story. My first case is a fairly simple one. A young woman was killed in her apartment. The guy they arrested was the unlucky sap dating her. Larry Butts, my best friend since grade school. Our school had a saying, when something smells, it's usually the butts. In the 23 years I've known him, it's usually been true. He has a knack for getting himself in trouble. One thing I can say though, it's usually not his fault. He just has terrible luck. But I know better than anyone that he's a good guy at heart. That and I own one, which is why I took the case, to clear his name. And that's just what I'm going to do. August 3rd, 10 o'clock a.m., District Court, Courtroom number 2.
Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Larry Butts. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor.
The, defense is ready, Your Honor.
Mr. Wright, this is your first trial, is it not?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm, a little nervous.
Your conduct during this trial will decide the fate of your client. Murder is a serious charge. For your client's sake, I hope you can control your nerves.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Wright, given the circumstances, I think we should have a test to ascertain your readiness.
Yes, Your Honor.
Gulp. Hand shaking. Eyesight fading. The test will consist of a few simple questions. Answer them clearly and concisely. Please state the name of the defendant in this case.
Alright, so this is basically the tutorial for the game. And we know that the defendant is Larry Butts. So let's select that. The defendant, well, that's Larry Butts, Your Honor.
Correct! Just keep your wits about you and you'll do fine. Next question. This is a murder trial. Tell me, what's the victim's name?
Phew, I know this one. Glad I read the case report cover to cover so many times. It's... wait, uh-oh. No way! I forgot! I'm drawing a total blank here. Phoenix, are you absolutely sure you're up to this? You don't even know the victim's name? Oh, the victim. Of course I know the victim's name. I, just forgot. Temporarily. I think I feel a migraine coming on. Look, the victim's name is listed in the court record. Just press tab to check it at any time, okay? Remember to check it often. Do it for me, please. I'm begging you.
Mr. Wright, who is the victim in this case?
Alright, well, let's take a look at the court record, like Mia suggested. We know it's not Mia. She's clearly here. Alright, we have an attorney's badge. No one would believe I was a defense attorney if I didn't carry this. I believe this is something that's pretty common in Japan, where people in the court wear badges like this. And then we have Cindy's autopsy reports. So we can see here that's the autopsy report, but if we hit the R button, we can also see the profiles of everybody involved. We have Mia Fey, who is age 27, our boss, Larry Butts, 23, and my mouse scroll wheel is apparently also scrolling around. A defendant in this case, and then we have Cindy Stone, that is the victim's name. A model, she lived in an apartment by herself, and then Winston Payne, age 52, the prosecutor for this case. Lacks presence, generally bad at getting his points across. Alright. Well, we know that it is Cindy Stone. The victim's name is Cindy Stone. Correct. Now, tell me, what was the cause of death? She died because she was... We know that from the autopsy reports, she was hit with a blunt object. She was struck once by a blunt object. Correct. You've answered all my questions. I see no reason why we shouldn't proceed. You seem much more relaxed, Mr. Wright. Good for you. Thank you, Your Honor. Because I don't feel relaxed, that's for sure. Well then, first, a question for the prosecution. Mr. Payne? Yes, Your Honor. As Mr. Wright just told us, the victim was struck with a blunt object. Would you explain to the court just what that object was? The murder weapon was the statue of the thinker. It was found lying on the floor next to the victim. I see. The court accepted into evidence. Statue added to the court record. A statue in the shape of the thinker. It's rather heavy. Well, that would certainly do it. Right. Be sure to pay attention to any evidence added during the trial. That evidence is the only ammunition you have in court. Use tab to check the court record frequently. Mr. Payne, the prosecution may call its first witness. The prosecution calls the defendant, Mr. Butts, to the stand. Chief, what do I do now? Pay attention. You don't want to miss any information that might help your client's case. You'll get your chance to respond to the prosecution later, so be ready. Let's just hope he doesn't say anything unfortunate. Uh-oh, Larry gets excited easily. This could be bad. Okay, so this is going to be our first cross-examination. Mr. Butts, is it not true that the victim had recently dumped you? Hey, watch it, buddy! We were great together! We were Romeo and Juliet, Cleopatra and Mark Antony. I don't know if those would be the examples I would want to use. Didn't they all die? Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Phoenix. I wasn't dumped! She just wasn't taking my phone calls, or seeing me, ever. What's it to you, anyway? Mr. Butts, what you describe is generally what we mean by dumps. In fact, she had completely abandoned you, and was seeing other men! She had just returned from overseas with one of them the day before the murder. What do you mean, one of them? Lies, all of it lies. I don't believe a word of it. Your Honor, the victim's passport. According to this, she was in Paris until the day before she died. Passport added to the court record. Indeed, she appears to have returned the day before the murder. Dude, no way! The victim was a model, but did not have a large income. It appears that she had several sugar daddies. Daddies? Sugar? Yes, older men who gave her money and gifts. She took their money and used it to support her lifestyle. Dude! We can clearly see what kind of woman this Miss Stone was. Tell me, Mr. Butts, what do you think of her now? Right. I don't think you want him to answer that question. Yeah, Larry has a way of running his mouth in all the wrong directions. Should I... let's stop him from answering. My client had no idea the victim was seeing other men. That question is irrelevant to this case. Dude, Nick, what do you mean irrelevant?
That cheatin' she-dog! Whoops, I did not mean to bring up the options menu. I'm gonna die! I'm just gonna drop dead! Yeah, and when I meet her in the afterlife, I'm going to get to the bottom of this! Larry, you're not helping yourself right now. Let's continue with the trial, shall we? I believe the accused motive is clear to everyone. Yes, quite. Oh boy, this is so not looking good. Next question. You went to the victim's apartment on the day of the murder, did you not? Go. Well, did you or did you not? Heh? Heh. Well, maybe I did and maybe I didn't. Uh-oh, he went. What'd I do? Let's have him answer honestly. I think that's probably the best thing. I know, I'll send him a signal. Tell the truth! Yeah, I was there. I went. Order? Well, Mr. Butts. Dude, chill! She wasn't home, man, so, like, I didn't see her. Oh, that's what his voice sounds like. Your Honor, the defendant is lying. Lying? Okay, I cannot switch between the pain voice and the judge voice very well. Lying? The prosecution would like to call a witness who can prove Mr. Butts is lying. Well, that simplifies matters. Who is your witness? The man who found the victim's body. Just before making the gruesome discovery, he saw the defendant fleeing the scene of the crime. Triple gavel. Order! Order in the court! Mr. Payne, the prosecution may call its witness. Yes, Your Honor. This is bad. On the day of the murder, my witness was selling newspapers at the victim's building. Please bring Mr. Frank Sawit to the stand. Yeah, this game has a lot of puns, as you'll discover. Oh boy, this guy looks familiar. Mr. Sawit, you sell newspaper subscriptions, is this correct? Oh yes, newspapers, yes! Mr. Sawit, you may proceed with your testimony. Please tell the court what you saw on the day of the murder. Alright, we get our testimony here. Witness's account. I was going door to door, selling subscriptions when I saw a man fleeing an apartment. I thought he must be in a hurry because he left the door half open behind him. Thinking it strange, I looked inside the apartment. Then I saw her lying there. A woman, not moving, dead! I quailed in fright and found myself unable to go inside. I thought to call the police immediately. However, the phone in her apartment wasn't working. I went to a nearby park and found a public phone. I remember the time exactly. It was 1:00 p.m. The man who ran was, without a doubt, the defendant sitting right over there. Larry, why didn't you tell the truth? I can't defend you against a testimony like that. Incidentally, why wasn't the phone in the victim's apartment working? Your Honor, at the time of the murder, there was a blackout in the building. Aren't phones supposed to work during a blackout? Yes, Your Honor. However, some cordless phones do not function normally. The phone that Mr. Sawit used was one of those. Your Honor, I have a record of the blackout for your perusal. Blackout record added to the court record. Electricity to Miss Stone's building was out from noon to 6 p.m. on the day of the crime. Okay, that doesn't seem terribly unusual. Now, Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. You may begin your cross-examination. Cross-examination, Your Honor? Alright, Wright, this is it. The real deal. What exactly am I supposed to do? Why, you exposed the lies in the testimony the witness just gave. Lies? What? He was lying? Your client is innocent, right? Then that witness must have lied in his testimony. Or is your client really guilty? How do I prove he's not? You hold the key. It's in the evidence. Compare the witness's testimony to the evidence at hand. There's bound to be a contradiction in there. First,
find contradictions between the court record and the witness's testimony. Then, once you've found the contradicting evidence, present it and rub it in the witness's face. Okay. Open the court record with tab, then point out contradictions in the testimony. Alright. So, this mechanic in the game is basically just going through the testimony as recorded and then finding the evidence that refutes it, basically. I'm not going to reread the dialogue here. I'm just going to try to find the correct answer. But one thing you can do is you can press each statement. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Isn't a man leaving an apartment a common sight? I find it odd you would take notice of him. I don't know, he just seemed strange to me, that's all. Like he was mad and yet frightened at the same time. Just like a criminal fleeing the scene of a crime. The defense requests that the witness refrain from conjecture. Of course! What the witness means is that the man he saw looked suspicious. So what happened next? Alright, so I don't think that particularly is all that suspicious or contradictory to anything we know. Okay, let's see here. Sometimes you do have to press before you can actually do stuff, so we probably will be pressing a lot in the later cases. I'm trying not to use a walkthrough or anything here throughout this. I'm gonna look here at what we have. So, this looks rather suspicious. The autopsy report says that the time of death was 4 to 5 p.m., but he says that it was 1 o'clock, which is definitely a contradiction. Alright, let's find... Whoops! My mouse is apparently doing that. Let's find... Yes, here we go. Now, whenever you don't hear music after you say objection, that generally means you found the right thing to present. You found the body at 1 p.m., you're sure? Yes, it was 1 p.m. for certain. Frankly, I find that hard to believe. Your statement directly contradicts the autopsy report. The autopsy notes the time of death at sometime after 4 p.m. There was no body to find at 1 o'clock p.m. How do you explain this 3-hour gap? Oh, that! I'll never get over that voice. This is trivial! The witness merely forgot the time! After his testimony, I find that hard to believe. Mr. Sawat, why were you so certain that you found the body at 1 o'clock p.m.? Gee, that's a really good question. Great job, Wright. Way to put him on the spot. That's all you have to do. Point out contradictions. Lies always beget more lies. See through one, and their whole story falls apart. Wait, I remember now. Would you care to give your testimony again? Okay, so it looks like we have another testimony. The time of discovery. You see, when I found the body, I heard the time. There was a voice saying the time. It was probably coming from the television. Oh, but it was 3 hours off, wasn't it? I guess the victim must have been watching a video of a taped program. That's why I thought it was 1 o'clock p.m. Terribly sorry about the misunderstanding. That's a rather convenient explanation. I see. You heard a voice saying the time on a taped program. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Right. You know what to do? I've got this one. Alright, well, I think I know what's wrong with this. There was a blackout that wasn't resolved until after all the blocks of time we're talking about, so... I don't believe that that could have been the case, what he's saying, if there was a blackout. So let's present this here. There we go. Hold it right there. The prosecution has said there was a blackout at the time of the discovery. And this record proves it. You couldn't have heard a television or a video. God! The fence has a point. Do you have an explanation for this, Mr. Solid? No, I find it quite puzzling myself. Quite. Well, wait, I remember now. Mr. Solid? The court would prefer to hear an accurate testimony from the very beginning. These constant corrections are harming your credibility. That, and you seem rather distraught. My apologies, Your Honor. It must have been the shock of finding the body. Very well, Mr. Solid. Let's hear your testimony once more, please. Hearing the time. Alright, we have a third one. Actually, I didn't hear the time. I saw it. Hey, just like your name. There was a table clock in the apartment, wasn't there? Yeah, the murder weapon. The killer used it to hit the victim. That must have been what I saw. How would that tell you the time? You saw a clock? I guess that would explain it. The defense may cross-examine the witness. Gladly. We may need to look at that statue again. Alright, hearing the time. Ooh, we got some faster music here. Things must be getting serious. Well, it doesn't really seem to suggest anything else here. Let me go back and just look through his testimony here. Do we just present that? I mean, we can show that this is not like a clock, or at least it doesn't look like a clock. That must have been right. Wait just a moment. The murder weapon wasn't a clock. It was a statue. Now, how is this supposed to be a clock? Oh, here we go. We got the cornered music. This is iconic. What? You with your objections and your evidence. Just who do you think you are? Just answer the question, Mr. Solid. Hey, I saw it there, okay? That's a clock. Your Honor, if I may. Yes, Mr. Payne? As the witness stated, this statue is indeed a clock. The neck is a switch. You just tilt it and it says the time out loud. As it doesn't look like a clock, I submitted it as a statue. My apologies. I see. So the murder weapon was a table clock after all. Well, Mr. Wright, it appears that the witness's testimony was correct. This is a clock. Do you have any problems with this testimony now? Well, I always have problems with this testimony. Your Honor, there is a gaping hole in the witness's testimony. The only way he could have known the weapon was a clock is to hold it in his hand. Yet the witness testified that he never entered the apartment. Clearly a contradiction. Indeed. The witness knew it was a clock because he went into the apartment. You're lying. You were inside the apartment on the day of the murder. Oh yeah? Prove it. Prove I went in there. I'll do better than that. I can prove you were the one who killed her. You struck her with the clock, and the shock of the blow triggered the clock's voice. That was the sound you heard. Order in the court? Intriguing. Please continue, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Solid, the sound must have left quite an impression on you. Understandable, since the murder weapon spoke just as you hit the victim. That voice was burned into your mind. That's why you were so certain about the time.
What's the meaning of this? This is all baseless conjecture.
Baseless? Just look at the witness's face.
Grah! Would the witness care to elaborate? Did you strike the victim with the clock?
That day, I never... Look, the clock, I heard, no, I mean, I saw... Grah! Shut up! I hate you! It was him, I tell you! I saw him! He killed her, and he should burn! Give him death!
Order in the court, I say. Your Honor, a moment, please. There isn't a shred of evidence supporting the defense's claims. Mr. Wright, Your Honor, you claim the sound the witness heard came from the clock.
Do you have any evidence? The whole case is riding on this. I'd better think it through carefully. Your Honor, the sound Mr. Solid heard was definitely this clock. A fact which is queer if you simply... Let's try sounding the clock. Looks like we have a penalty that might happen here if we choose incorrectly. Let's sound the clock now, here in this court. Your Honor, may I have the clock? I ask the court to listen very carefully. Beep. I think it's 8:25.
That certainly is a strange way to announce the time.
Well, he is the thinker, after all.
So, we've heard the clock.
What are your conclusions, Mr. Wright? Mr. Payne, can you tell me what time it is now? It's 11:25.
Act!
As you can see, this clock is exactly 3 hours slow. Precisely the discrepancy between what Mr. Solid heard and the actual time of death. So, Mr. Solid, try to talk your way out of this one.
Ha! Ha ha!
You forgot one thing. Uh-oh, what's he talking about now? While it may seem like that clock is running 3 hours slow, it proves nothing! How do you know it was running 3 hours slow on the day of the murder? If you can't prove that, you don't have a case. He's right. How am I going to prove that? Damn it, I was so close.
Mr. Wright, it seems you lack the critical evidence to support your claim.
Yes, Your Honor?
This means I cannot let you indict the witness. Unfortunately, this ends the cross-examination of Mr. Frank Sawit.
I come all the way down here to testify, and look what happens. You treat me like a criminal! A criminal! You lawyers are all slime! Grr, I almost had him. Sorry, Larry. I failed you. There's nothing I can do about it now. Not so fast, Mr. Solid. Chief! Listen up, Wright. Don't throw this one away. Not like this. Think. But Chief, it's over. I can't prove the clock was slow the day of the murder. Nobody can prove that. Well, yes. But that doesn't mean you can't still win. Try thinking out of the box. Don't waste time doubting the facts. Assume the clock was 3 hours slow and think through it. Ask yourself, why was the clock 3 hours slow? Figure out the reason and you'll have your proof. Right? Can you think of a reason as to why the clock would be 3 hours slow? Yes. We have to say yes. Wait, maybe I can prove it. You must have evidence somewhere that can prove it, right? Find it and let them have it.
Well, Mr. Wright, you say the clock was already running slow on the day of the murder. Have you found evidence to support this claim?
Of course. There is a piece of evidence in the court record that can prove my claim beyond a doubt. Ha! Tough words. Let's see you pull this one off.
Let's see this evidence that proves why the clock was running slow.
Alright, so
one thing that the game doesn't actually tell you in this case, but will mention in, I think, the next one, is that the game takes place in Los Angeles. Now, originally it was Tokyo, but the localization mentions Los Angeles. And so Paris, as it turns out, is, I want to say, hang on, what would that be? That would be 21 hours? The other way around, where it's, basically it wraps around the other direction. And I don't know if they localize that, because I don't know if Paris is actually 21 hours ahead of Los Angeles. That doesn't sound right. It may be from Tokyo, now that I'm thinking about it. So, they may not have actually changed that for this. So let's present this. The victim had just returned home from abroad the day before the murder. As we all know, the time difference between here and Paris is 9 hours. Oh, 9 hours, right. I'm silly. It doesn't have to go all the way to 24 hours, because it doesn't really mention AM or PM. When it's 4 PM here, it's 1 AM the next day there. The clock wasn't 3 hours slow, it was 9 hours fast. The victim hadn't reset her clock since returning home. That's why the time you heard when you struck her dead in her apartment was wrong. Proof enough for you, Mr. Solid? Or should I say, Mr. Did It? Okay, well, he's out cold.
Order! Order, I say! Well, this case has certainly turned out differently than we all expected. Mr. Payne, your witness? He was arrested and has been taken away, Your Honor. Very well. Mr. Wright?
Yes, Your Honor.
I have to say, I'm impressed. I don't think I've ever seen someone complete a defense so quickly, and find the true culprit at the same time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
At this point, this is only a formality, but this court finds the defendant, Mr. Larry Butts, not guilty.
Yay! Confetti! Woo!
And with that, this court is adjourned.
Alright, we did it! We completed the first trial, or the first turnabout, as the game calls them. It turns out that Frank Solid was a common burglar. He posed as a newspaper salesman to check and see when people were out of the house. That day, when Larry went to her apartment, the victim wasn't home. After he left, Mr. Solid let himself in to do his dirty work. While he was searching her place, the victim returned. Flustered, Mr. Solid grabbed the nearest blunt object he could find. August 3rd, 2:32 p.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. Phew, I still can't believe we won. Right, good job in there. Congratulations. Thanks, Chief. I owe it all to you. Not at all, not at all. You fought your own battles in there. It's been a while since I've seen a trial end on such a satisfying note. I've never seen the Chief looking this happy. If she's this glad, imagine how Larry must feel. My life is over! Larry, you're supposed to be happy. What's wrong now? Aw, Nick! Don't worry about me. I'll be dead and gone soon. Good. Wait, no! I mean, bad. Bad. Larry, you're innocent. The case is closed. But my Cindy Wendy's gone, man. Gone forever. Larry, she was, nah, never mind. Congratulations, Harry. Harry? Yes, you. I can practically see the headlines now. Harry Butts, innocent. Heh, thanks. I really owe you one. I won't forget this, ever. Let's celebrate. Dinner, movie, my treat. Oh no, I couldn't. Hey, I was the one who got you off the hook. Oh hey! Here, take this. It's a present. A present? For me? Wait, wasn't this the evidence that...
Actually, I made this clock for her. I made one for her and one for me. Really? You? You made this? Well, thank you. I'll keep it as a memento. Yo, Nick! Can you believe it? I was so into that chick. And she was just playing me for a fool. Don't that make you just want to cry? Larry... Are you so sure? Squeeze me? Easy there, Jar Jar Binks. I think she thought quite a lot of you in her own way. Nah, you don't gotta sympathize with me. It's okay. Oh, I'm not just sympathizing, really. Isn't that right, Wright? Don't you have something to show your friend? Something that proves how she felt about him? Huh? Oh yeah, right! What the heck is she talking about? Well, I think it's the thinker. She kept it in her apartment, right? I like how we say take that even though we're just having a nice conversation. Check this out, Larry. Proof positive you weren't just some chump to her. Huh? What about that clock? This is the clock you made for her, Larry. And she took it with her when she traveled. Whatever, she probably just needed a clock, that's all. You think so? It's a pretty heavy clock to take traveling. Well, make of it what you will. Hey, Nick. I'm glad I asked you to be my lawyer. Really, I am. Thanks. Hope that made him feel a little better. Right? I hope you see the importance of evidence now. Also, hopefully you realize things change depending on how you look at them. People, too. We never really know if our clients are guilty or innocent. All we can do is believe in them. And in order to believe in them, you have to believe in yourself. Right? Listen. Learn. Grow strong. Never let go of what you believe in. Never. Well, I think our work here is done. Shall we be off? Yeah, I guess so. Say, how about dinner? On me. We'll drink a toast to innocent butts. Yeah! Oh, speaking of Harry, you were saying part of why you became a lawyer was because of him. Yeah, part at least. You'll have to tell me more about it sometime. Maybe over drinks? And so, my first trial came to a close. Larry slapped me on the back and said, "Gee, Nick, it's good to have friends." But I'm pretty sure he's not going to pay us, unless you count the clock he gave Mia. I didn't know it then, but that clock was soon going to be at the center of another incident. And my promise to tell the chief about me and Larry would be one promise that I wouldn't be able to keep. The end. Alright, so that was the first case. It's definitely the shortest one in the series. A brand new episode has been added. Alright. The game thankfully autosaves, which is nice. We'll go ahead and create a new file. And next time, we are going to start Case 2, Turnabout Sisters. But we'll do that in the next episode. So until then, thank you all so much for watching. And I will catch you on the next one. So take care and see you then.